Okay, so you know you want to live a life of freedom, and you know the best way to do that is by having an online business, but you don't know where to start. Well, in today's video, I'm going to take you through the exact steps to follow to create an online business so you can live a life of time, location, and financial freedom. If you're new to the channel, my name is James Eardley, and I've built e-commerce businesses to 7 figures, which has allowed me time and location freedom. And with these videos, I'm helping you to do the same. So step 1 is to define your vision. Before you start, you have to have the end in mind. What do you want your life to look like? What does a perfect day in your life look like in a few months or a few years' time? We need to do this because every other decision that you make is going to be based on having that end vision in mind. And the clearer you are with that end vision, the easier it is for you to achieve. There's something about setting a goal and knowing exactly what that looks like. It allows your brain and the actions you take to be fully focused on that single goal. But the amount of people that I speak to and they don't know exactly what it is they're trying to build, it holds so many people back. So the first step is to get clear on what you want your life to look like. Have a clear vision and everything else comes from that. Step 2 is now to choose the right business model. Now with your vision in mind, you have put together a life. And if you're anything like me, I was dreaming of a life of freedom. And that meant having the time, location, and financial freedom to do what I wanted and to help those around me. Now, if that's a similar vision for yourself, the type of online business you're going to create is going to be heavily influenced by that vision. So I mean by that is if you want to have a life of freedom, you won't choose a business that ties you to a particular place, like an office, or a business that ties you to your time. Like if you were to go into a consulting business and you started to consult businesses with consultations, you're tied to giving your time for money. However, if you want to live a life of freedom, and that's what we're all about on this channel, you'll want to choose a business model that allows you to generate income no matter what you do. Now, if you're like me and you've got ambitious goals, you'll want to create a business that can scale to a large size. So when I sat down and did this exercise a few years ago, I realized I wanted freedom and I was ambitious. I wanted a business that I could scale to a large size to support a very healthy income. So I chose e-commerce, which means selling physical products online. And if you want to have a life where you just have to work from a laptop and you're not tied to a particular location and you don't have to trade your time for money, then e-commerce is fantastic because you can set it up on a laptop, you can run ads while you're asleep, and you can generate income no matter what it is that you do. There are other business models, so either a social media marketing agency or you can be a freelancer on Upwork. But in my opinion, if you want freedom and you want to be able to set something up that pays you without you having to be constantly looking at your laptop and working every day, then I'd recommend e-commerce. Now, once you've chosen your business model, step 3 is to choose a niche. So whatever business you've gone into, and especially with e-commerce, you'll need to niche down within that business to really be a specialist. So for myself with e-commerce, I knew that I was going to sell products online, I had to decide which products to sell. And this is step 3. So the way we do this is we're going to choose products, choose a product range that's already selling. It's already in demand and it's already been proven to work for you to go into it. Now, I see a lot of people that want to go in and find something that has no competition, but that's the wrong way to view it. If it has no competition, that is for a reason. There's a reason why there's no competition, because it doesn't work and those products aren't selling. Instead, it's best to find an area where there is already competition, where there are thriving businesses, and you just need to take a very small part of that market and you can have a very successful online business. So there's a criteria that we go through to choose a business to make sure that there's enough demand, that there is people already selling, that they are products that are high ticket, that are expensive, so that you can make more profit per order. And we go through this whole process, which I've explained on my channel in other videos, but the next step is to get really clear on a product. And this market research phase only needs to take a few days or a week to be really clear. And once you've got that, you can move on to the next step. Step 4 is to build your brand. And that means building a website as well as your logo and your branding, and getting really clear on what your brand is of products. So this is an exciting part because you can really see your business come to life. So all you need to do is go to Shopify, sign up to an account with Shopify, and from Shopify you can build out your website, choose from a template, you drag and drop and create a website, And if you've never used Shopify before, or if you've got no experience of running an e-commerce business, Shopify makes it the most simple. Out of all the platforms, that's definitely the one to use. Now, with your branding, I recommend you have a look at the different types of brands that are already in the industry and make sure that you take inspiration from those brands in terms of the color schemes, what do they talk about, what their customers clearly care about in that niche, and take the best elements of those brands. Then you need to come up with your own brand, make sure it is individual and unique to yourself, but have a logo, have a name, and make sure it speaks to that niche. Make sure it's clear that you're a specialist in that niche, and also try and pull out something that you've noticed is very clearly in demand from customers. So perhaps look at the reviews of some of the competitor sites and work out what's really important for customers. What do they value the most? And think about making that your primary unique selling point, something that customers clearly care about. Now, an example would be if you're looking at different brands and on the reviews, you're noticing that customers really highly value a sustainable business. And perhaps you're selling a product that traditionally isn't the most sustainable, but you can see that customers are really valuing when brands are talking or doing something about sustainability. So that could become your brand. Perhaps you could plant a tree with every order, or you could do something for a charity. But think about how you can create a brand around what's really important for your customers. Once you've built the site, the next step is to find your suppliers. So that means you need to find these suppliers that will provide the products to your customers. Now, I personally use the dropshipping business model, and dropshipping is a type of e-commerce where we ask our suppliers to deliver directly to customers. That means we don't need to pay for stock, we don't need to invest significant capital upfront, and it also means we don't have the headaches of deliveries when customers place their orders. So what I'd recommend then is finding suppliers that will be willing to do dropshipping for you. Now, the way to do this is to do some research again and have a look at the competitors in your market that are dropshipping and online only. So make sure you're confident that they're online only, then have a look at their list of brands, and that will be pointing at the suppliers that you need to sign. Start off by signing 4 suppliers and show them the website that you've built. That's why we build the website first. It's so that you've got something to show them when you contact them, and they'll know that you're really serious. You speak to them on the phone, explain that you want to be a retailer for their business and you want to increase the sales, and they will be keen to work with you. As you can see, they're already working with a similar business. Now, with your 4 suppliers on board, you can start to set up your digital marketing campaign. And the type of marketing I'd recommend for you is a Google Ads campaign. Now, I use Google Ads because it means that we're putting our products in front of customers who are already searching for those products. So if you decide to sell kitchen equipment, you're selling blenders or you're selling toasty makers, not suggesting that's a good niche, just as an example, and you want to be in front of people that are already searching the search term in Google by smoothie maker. And you can do that, and you can set up an ad campaign where your products, if you can sell smoothie makers, will be appearing on page 1 of Google from the first day that you set up that campaign. So it's an incredibly powerful tool. And by setting up this type of campaign, you'll be putting your products in front of customers who are already searching and already in the market for those products. Now, to set up your Google Ads campaign, you can either learn it yourself or speak with an agency, a marketing agency that can create that first campaign for you. But the key for me is that I like to set up performance max campaigns and to set a target return on ad spend. So that gives me real control and I can see exactly what I need to achieve. The key with a Google Ads campaign for me is knowing what is success for you. So you need to know what is your break-even return on ad spend before you start running a campaign. And that means how much money do you need to get back from the campaign in order to be profitable. If you don't know these numbers, you won't know whether your campaign is successful or not, and you won't be able to scale it. So it's key that you know the numbers, know what you need to get back in return to make a profit. Once you've got that clear, then you can go ahead, press go on your campaign, start investing in the Google Ads campaign, start seeing sales come back in, and then you can scale from that position. That brings us to step 7, which is now to scale your business. And this is a really exciting time in your business growth. You scale when you have hit that profitability level in your Google Ads campaign. And that means for every pound that you invest in the Google Ads campaign, you're getting a profitable return back into your business. Now, you've set up there a money machine because you can invest as much money as you possibly can while you're still receiving a profitable return on that campaign. It's like going to a machine, a gambling machine, knowing that every time you play that game, you'll receive a profitable return. So the way that we scale this business is we make sure we have profitable campaigns in place, and then we increase the budget. We spend more money on that campaign and we receive more money back in return. When you've got this profitable campaign set up, you can then reinvest some of that profits into hiring your first virtual assistant, which will be a huge level up in scaling your business. So you find a virtual assistant that will do the day-to-day tasks. And remember, we're always going to keep in mind what we did from step 1, which was to define the vision of success. And if your vision was for a life of freedom, then this is what's really going to allow that to happen, because a virtual assistant will take care of the day-to-day tasks while you can do what you want with your time. You can choose how much you work, how much time you put into scaling, and how much time you spend with family and friends. But this is the key point here, is to hire a virtual assistant, reinvest some profits, and then you can take profit out on top of that. And finally, step 8 is what I call sustainable consistency. You need to be consistently making improvements to your business, and I suggest making 1% improvements every day. But it needs to be sustainable. So that sustainable consistency that I talk about, it means that you need to be doing things for the long term. It means that this isn't a get-rich-quick scheme. It means there'll be hard work, there'll be sacrifices to get this in place, but you need to do that sustainably. So you don't want to be working 14-hour days every day for 6 months because you'll burn out at that level. You need to make sure you're making improvements, but you're doing it in a way that you can repeat for months and years without getting burnt out. It just needs to be a process or a routine, a schedule that works for you, that means you can follow that for a long time. So however that looks for you. So for me, I knew that I could do some work first thing in the morning, really focus work, and then focus on the less important tasks, admin tasks, emails later in the day. But by putting up a routine that I knew I could stick to, I wasn't getting up at 4 a.m. and I don't get up at 4 a.m. now because that would be unsustainable for me. I don't carry on working beyond 8 p.m. at the very latest. Normally I'm finished by 5 because I don't want to push myself to a limit where I burn out. You're just putting together a schedule, whatever works for you, so that makes sure that you can work consistently for the long term. So those are the 8 steps for you to build a successful online business. Now, if you're finding it difficult to kickstart your journey and take these steps, and you're finding it difficult to perhaps leave a 9-to-5 that you feel tied to, then check out the first link in the description, because that is a community that I'm building. Now, don't worry, it's not a £2,000 course. It's not a training video. What it is a free community. And that link is just a gateway to that free community. And it's called Freedom Builders. And we're building a community of people, of like-minded, ambitious people that want to build a life of freedom. And in that community, we're discussing the tips, tricks, and methods that we are taking to get to freedom and success in our lives. It's there if you need it. So take a look and you can join that community. Also remember, if you've enjoyed today's video, then hit the like button because it lets me know whether you enjoy this type of content. Comment to let me know if you're going to be taking these 8 steps to build your own online business, and subscribe because it helps the channel out and you won't miss future videos where I break down each of these steps further. Also, by subscribing, you're not just subscribing to a channel, but you're joining our movement of people building their freedom. So with that said, I will catch you in the next video. Cheers.